Hi everybody and welcome back finally to another video with me, Tom Dollimore. As most of you know by now, I started this season as the #1 ranked manager on the FPL Research Manager rankings. It's been a little while since I did my last video. We had the international break and then unfortunately I was a bit sick last week. You still might be able to hear it in my voice a little bit, but we're back in action now and looking ahead to game week 13. Just covering off how my game week 12 went. So ultimately, my transfers I ended up doing were an absolute disaster. So I ended up doing Gabriel to Van Dijk, which I think is the move a lot of people made. Obviously, Liverpool have continued to be awful, so that didn't turn out great. Luckily, got the defensive contribution points, so took the edge off a little bit, but yeah, that wasn't great, and I don't feel great about it now. It was kind of a long-term pick, but we'll see if they improve. Hopefully they do. And then the other transfer was even worse. So we did Reinders to Cunha, and yeah, it was. To be honest, this is one of the worst situations in FPL that you can get, because I essentially went against what most people have done, which is gone for Mbomo. It's really frustrating when you take a risk like that and you don't even get to see what might have happened. But ultimately, these things happen, and I move on pretty quick from them. Just have to start thinking about the next game week when these things happen. But to be honest, I make it sound worse than it was, because I did get a green arrow, 48 points. And actually, funny enough, because Cunha didn't play, I ended up getting 3 points from Rodon off the bench, which was more than Mbomo scored. So kind of worked out all right, but doesn't feel great, and don't really know when he's going to be back. We haven't had much information yet, but hopefully he can be back soon. So none of the popular captains really did much. Saka got a couple of extra points, but it's not much in it really. But yeah, it's annoying. Bruno Fernandes. It's annoying when you try and, like, it's the same as a Cunha situation. It's annoying when you go against what the majority of people do and it doesn't work out for you. But luckily, these things haven't come back to bite me too hard. So Enzo Fernandez finally delivering 11 points. That's nice, because I was looking at getting him in for a while. I finally got him in and he did nothing. So and then forwards, Thiago. Slightly frustrating, only ended on 4 points with the penalty miss. That's I think it's my 4th penalty miss of the season, which is unbelievable. I don't remember having anything like that in a season, let alone only 12 game weeks in. But Haaland only 2 points, which is good because I didn't captain him. And Mateta, slightly concerning, come off 59 minutes with only 1 point. But hopefully that's just a blip. I don't know, we'll see. Wait and see on that one. So moving on to game week 13, we are. I'm 99% sure I'm using free hit. Why am I using it this week? So for those of you that have been following, I basically assess my chips every single week, and I basically do that consistently every week until the week comes up when the week in front of me is the week to use a chip. So that is this week. So for a few weeks, for a while it's been either game week 12, 13, 14, and ultimately it's looking like 13 is going to be the best. So I'll quickly run through my free hit draft right now, and so yeah, currently I'm looking at free hit this week and triple captain in 17, but it is team dependent, and triple captain this week is a good option as well. So and it's a bit lower risk because the game week 17 fixture is a better fixture, but it's there's potential that, you know, if Haaland's injured, then you're not got many options to use it before you lose the chip. So it's a bit higher risk, but I think Haaland's fairly reliable fitness wise, so hopefully it's fine. But yeah, this game week's a good week for triple captain as well. Ultimately, the chip is good this week because you've got firstly, you've got Arsenal, who play against Chelsea away, which obviously everyone's got Arsenal players, so you avoid that difficult fixture for them. And it is a risk because Arsenal are so good that they could still deliver really good points, but you just got to play the numbers here, and it's likely that they won't. And if you're going to go against Arsenal, and you've got to use your free hit at some point, if you're going to go against Arsenal, this is probably the week to do it. Then you've also got United play Palace, and everyone's got, or most people have got a fair few United and Palace players. So it avoids that fixture. You could argue that United is a good fixture, but you don't know really. They're kind of up and down at the minute, and if they're up, they're actually not a great fixture, and so it's on paper it isn't a good fixture for Palace, but it could be if they don't turn up. So you can argue that one either way, but ultimately the plus side of the free hit this week is you've got a few teams who have got some potentially good players, but they're not really brilliant picks long term. But they've got a really good fixture this week. So if we look at Brentford, I think Sharda is a really good option. And for a while, I was actually thinking of getting him in, but then he's been on 4 yellows for a bit, and that risk of being on 4 yellows and possibly getting a suspension has kept me from buying him. But we know he's going to play this week, and Brentford play against Burnley at home, which is a brilliant fixture. So you can get, I think Thiago is the only really good long-term pick for Brentford. So you can get 3 Brentford players in against Burnley at home. For City, we know with Pep Roulette, you never know which players are going to get consistent minutes. So quite a lot of people, I think most people have only got Haaland, maybe one other, maybe Foden, but it gives you the opportunity to get 3 City players against Leeds at home. And then Villa got Wolves at home, and I think Matty Cash is potentially a good asset, but Villa aren't consistent enough to go for him long term yet. So I think just being able to get them in for a 1 week punt on this fixture against Wolves at home makes it really good as well. So yeah, if you bring all that together, that's why the chip's good this week, and that is going to make the spine of the free hit really. It's going to be 3 City, 3 Brentford, and potentially 3 Villa, but maybe not. I actually only have 2 in, but we'll run through it right now where I'm at. So I've got Martinez in goal. That's mainly because I think of those 3 teams I've mentioned, I like him as a goalkeeper, but also you've got better options for the outfield players from Brentford and City. So ultimately it comes down to he's the best option to put in the goal slot, so that you're not using a slot for the outfield players, in my view. And then in defence we've got Matty Cash. It never feels great about Villa double defence, but like I said, I think Cash has been really good this year, and there's a few times when I've considered him, but then Villa just have never had that consistency this season, so kind of avoided him. But it's really nice to be able to have a 1 week punt on him. O'Reilly, I think he's actually becoming a good long term pick at the moment, because he's been getting those consistent good minutes. We can still do a 1 week punt on him, and then potentially buy him in for the long term later on. For Brentford, I've got Collins. I think it's a complete 50-50 between Collins and Vandenberg. The models prefer Collins, so I've got Collins because it still works in the structure and the rest of the team I want. I've got enough money, but to be honest, if you can't afford the team you want, you can just downgrade him to Vandenberg, and I don't think there's much in it at all. So one of those 2. And I think those 3 defenders I've just mentioned are pretty much nailed in the free hit. Then the 4th defender I've got is Senesi. I've not seen him in a lot of free hit teams, but I think with the free hit, and there's another player that I've still got in my free hit who I think sometimes people use the free hit as an opportunity to completely throw their team out the window and try something new, which is fun, but I like to stick with the players that I think are still going to deliver, even if they're in my current team. So I've got Senesi in there. He's not nailed in. There's a couple of options, but this is my preferred option currently. So I've got Senesi in there. I still think he's a great asset. don't think Sunderland are particularly great going forward, and I think I like him. I like him in the team filling the last spot, to be honest. And moving into midfield, we've got Foden and Sharda. So I think Foden's a fairly obvious pick for City, and I've mentioned Sharda already. I think he's potentially a really good asset. It's just been those 4 yellows hanging over him that has put me off actually buying him in my normal team. So yeah, I think those two are nailed in my midfield for the free hit. And then we've got, to be fair, I think Mo Salah is. I know we haven't seen him deliver, but you never know, and it just feels like I don't think I'm going to own him again for a very long time unless something seriously changes with Liverpool. So the data's there still, and it feels quite nice to be able to have him in my team for 1 week again. So I know there's a bit of mumbles about maybe him getting dropped, but I think it would be very unlucky for that to suddenly happen now. So yeah, I think I'm going to keep him in there, but I'll be honest, I think I think you can make a perfectly fine free hit without him, to be honest, and I just prefer him in there. He's in. I've got Bruno Fernandes still. People will call me crazy because of how bad Man United have been. Yeah, maybe I am crazy, but again, the data and the models still support him, and he's got so many ways he can score points. All he needs is a goal and a good DEFCON game, and he's suddenly got a good score. Maybe he'll score one of his penalties one day, and then people will start seeing what I think he should be doing. But yeah, I've still got him in. But like I said, in the midfield, Foden and Sharda are the only nailed ones that I think have to be in there. The other two, you could have Semenyo still, to be fair. You could have Rodgers. I think he's quite popular on the free hit as your third Villa spot. I think that would be quite popular. And the other one I like is Anderson from Nottingham Forest. But that's kind of I think we've seen some improvement from them. I think I've had my eye on Anderson for quite a while. Obviously, I had my eye on him right at the start of the season, and they didn't start great, so I kind of took my eye off him. And now with the manager change, they've started looking a bit better. And I think he also took a penalty, and there's a bit of doubt over Gibbs White. So if Gibbs White is out, I think he's got a reasonable chance of taking a penalty as well if they get one in the game. So I quite like it as a punt for the week, and I haven't seen it mentioned much. So I think I'm thinking about Anderson versus Senesi really as my kind of last spot. But yeah, moving to the forwards, I think the forwards is the least flexible spot. I think midfield is you got quite a lot of options there to play with. I think the forwards is fairly nailed in my view, and I don't think there's much I would recommend doing outside of this. But it's just Haaland and Thiago, and I mean they're both in my normal team, and there's not many forward options, and they're great this week. So it's hard to recommend anyone else other than those two. And then last forward spot, I've got Mark Guiu to be a last bench spot and make the rest of the team more affordable for the week. The other bench spots, I've got Enzo Lefebvre. Quite like him as a first bench spot this week. So Bournemouth at home, and he's another one where I've had my eye on him for a while, but the minutes haven't quite been there, and he's not really an optimal long-term pick, so he's not made it in, so it's quite nice to have him. He's only first bench, but it's quite nice to just chuck him in the team for a week, and he might come in if I need him. And then I've got Esteve as the second bench. Just again, he's cheap, he might score some points. I'm hoping with a free hit you won't need your bench. You never know, but yeah, he just makes the 11 more affordable. He's only 3.9 million now, so. And then again, Dubravka, 4 million, hopefully not needed on a free hit, but he plays if there is a disaster. So yeah, I think that's the team. I've mentioned the alternative. It's either going to be Senesi or Anderson as my last spot. So I'd obviously downgrade Senesi and upgrade Enzo Lefebvre to make that happen. But yeah, at the moment I quite like this option. I think if we hear that Gibbs White is out, I might switch to the Anderson option. But yeah, this is where I'm at the minute. And captain's going to be Haaland, obviously. I think that goes without saying against Leeds at home. And yeah, like I've already mentioned, that's a good triple captain option this week. So good luck to you, those of you who go for that. And good luck to all of you on this game week as well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I've got 2 transfers in the bank coming into this week. Obviously, using the free hit, I won't get another one. But game week 14, we'll have 2 transfers, and there won't be a video from me for game week 14. Unfortunately, I'm not able to squeeze in these midweek fixtures. So my next video will be during the usual time next week, ahead of the game week 15. I believe Oscar is planning on covering my game week 14 plans in another video, so you should still be able to follow what I do. But currently I'm planning on, if I free hit this week, my current plans is to try and avoid doing anything in 14, and then using all of my remaining transfers in 15, because obviously any that aren't using 15, you get topped up to 5 transfers in 16. So yeah, the game week 15 video will hopefully be quite interesting. I'll be using a few transfers, so make sure you catch it. Good luck with your game weeks, 2 game weeks, and I'll see you in the next video.